we're not afraid of what's happening, or no one is afraid of what's happening. And it's a really general statement, and really profound if you understand it. No one is afraid of what is actually happening right now. It's like there could be a gun to your head, and you're not afraid of the gun to your head. You're afraid of being shot. And that's not in the now. That's, purely imagined. So when people say, well, fear is an illusion, it doesn't mean it's not real. It just means fear and now can't coexist. And because past and future are illusions, they are our illusions, they're just thoughts. It's not real in the sense of it's not reality. It's not the reality I'm in. It's the reality I'm dreaming. And it's interesting because you could say, well, there's a version of me I remember who did this thing, and I need to forgive myself for what I did. And on a higher level, I need to understand that I'm a different person than that person in my mind. And if I understand I'm a different person, there will be no continuity. There will be no repeating of cycles. There'll just be an understanding of, oh, that's why that version of me did that. But that's purely imagined. I don't have any evidence to say that that exists outside of my imagination. So this, Brandon, this version of me must be the real one. And it's a totally different one, right? Because if I can imagine a different version and this is the version I'm experiencing, well, then there's two. So I love this kind of idea of when I truly understand why I do why I've done what I've done, the choices that I've made, and I'll see innocence in the choice. And that creates understanding. And the understanding, instead of going from, I did something bad, I need to forgive myself, it's, I see the innocence in my confusion. And then the forgiveness, there's no debt. There's no, I need to overcome it. I now understand something that makes overcoming it not necessary. And when I need to do more and heal more and forgive more, is a core belief. It's like, we're going to find infinite things to heal from. But when it's understanding, then the next time that it comes up, we can laugh at it. We can go, oh man, this is what my old self used to think and believe. My old self used to believe all of these thoughts, and now I laugh at them. And that's a moment of integration. That's a moment of freedom. It's like getting your will back that was tied up in your conditioning. So I love talking about fear and time specifically. I always say our relationship with time will be a direct relationship, a direct reflection of our relationship with God. And then when you say that, then you go, well, so will everything, but time very specifically, man, when I'm in time, when I'm creating time, I am in a place of need, and I need something. Something needs to happen. Something needs to change. And we can only believe we have genuine needs if we believe we're a body. We're just a body. And now needs for a body are good. It's good to fulfill our needs so we can live and enjoy life. But there's a difference between attachment to needs, which is called addiction, and preference, which is freedom. And to me, that's the journey, to go from need to preference, from addiction to preference. So I guess I'll just share a little bit of that. And really, I'd love to open it up to you guys to hear any questions or thoughts.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a hot start, brother. That was really cool to hear. And just made me think about how, we all, like, not all everybody, but like for me, there was so long in my life where I was just holding on to the same story of who I thought I was, waking up, doing the same things. The same past was becoming the present that was becoming the future. So my question for you, because it's clear to tell, man, your essence is just vibrating that now that you speak of. I'm curious, like, how did you get here in your journey? And then are there practices that you do to stay here now?
Yeah. Yes, really good. So we can do a whole nother podcast on the how I got here, at least in my experience. But I could maybe pinpoint when I started to, I'm trying to think of a good pivotal moment. One that stands out, I was on the East Coast. I was always naturally drawn to spirituality and personal development. It just happened to always be in my world. Like I'd have my older brother gave me a Deepak Chopra CD or tape when I was like 12, and it guided me through meditation to heal my own headache. And it was like, oh, that's interesting. So I just had this pull. But it was all in my head. None of it was in my heart. It wasn't in my action. It wasn't in my being. But I was always interested in the concepts of spirituality and these sort of thing, and personal development and this sort of thing. So I pursued business and entrepreneurship really strongly, network marketing specifically. And I was on the East Coast. I was a top income earner in this company. And I was sitting on the couch one day, and on the surface, it was like, I was using steroids. I had the body every man would want, the women, the money, the status. It was like I was just going for all of the external things. And I was at a point where it felt like I had all of the external things. And I'm sitting in this apartment in Philadelphia, and I'm just miserable. And I'm like, I just don't get it. It's the classic story that so many people have told. And I just sat there, and in that moment, I decided to do the opposite of what I've been doing. I asked the question. I said, if this continues for another year in the same way, I wouldn't want to be here. I wouldn't want to do this anymore, this human thing. So I was like, I need to do something different. I don't know what to do, but I know what not to do. So I just started doing the opposite, really, of everything. And I started a newsletter. And one day my newsletter landed in the inbox of a woman in Australia moments before she was going to kill herself. And she had a handful of sleeping pills, and she was looking out at the beach in her car, and she was going to take the sleeping pills and go in the ocean and go to sleep. She is a medium, and her guide said, hey, turn on the radio, before you do that, turn on the radio. She turned on the radio, and a song played and said, you should stay a little bit longer. Those were the first lyrics of the song. And then my email came in, and it was titled, I'm excited to die. And it was this catchy way of me saying, when we die physically, we leave behind the pain, the fear, the doubt, the guilt, all the stuff, but we don't have to die to experience what the other side can be like now. And she reached out and said, I want you to coach me. And I said, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'm happy to get on a call with you. And in hindsight, it's like I just had, beginner's mind or the Buddha mind or dead mind. I just had no expectations of how the call should go. So I just showed up, and whatever came to me, I just shared because I didn't know any other way. And what I shared was what she needed. What she shared with me was what I needed. And we both had this profound connection and transformation and moment of going, I think this is why I'm here. And about 4 to 5 months later, her life completely changed. She lost weight. She healed her abusive relationship with her father, where they were able to get tea once a week now because he was dying, and that was really important to her. She lost 35 pounds. She was able to date again after 10 years of not dating. And she just changed careers, working less, doing what she loves, making more money. And it was just kind of mind blowing to see all of this change. And so that just led me to go, okay, there's something here. I better see what this whole coaching, spiritual, mentorship thing is all about. And I started finding mentors in my life, and I would do anything to be around them. I spent all the last of my money, literally all of it, to sleep on the couch of a mentor in Los Angeles. It was like a renowned men's coach at the time. And it was like the right people just showed up until boom, things just kind of took off. And here we are 15, 16 retreats later and different programs. And, I skipped over a bunch, but that's the short of the long.
Man, thank you so much. Incredible journey. Now, could you speak a little bit about your retreats and what you're like offering these days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this will tie into your second question. You said tools to stay in the now. So the essence of what we do is around self-inquiry and highest excitement and passion. So I call that the two sides of the coin. When you're not in time, you automatically say yes to that inner voice. And that's always going to put you in the direction of things that are exciting and joyful and passionate. And the more you say yes to it, the more excited you get about life. There's no reason to have expectations or insistence on outcomes because you're not in time. So it's you without a story. You without a story, it's the passion of the Christ principle. It's the direct path in my experience to the most accelerative, expansive view, saying yes to that voice, yes to passion, excitement, inspiration. But what that will bring up by design, which are just physics principles really, is your fear, your shadow. Going into inspiration always brings you into the unknown, and no one's afraid of the unknown. They're afraid of what they believe will happen in the unknown, which is always going to be something from the past, something unintegrated. So it's literally designed, taking into the unknown, because no one is going to be super excited to do something they've done before the same exact way they've done it before. And they couldn't do that anyway. So you're always going to be taken into some unknown. It's designed to bring up fear. That's when people quit. So inquiry, and I love the work of Byron Katie. I'm a huge Byron Katie fan, but inquiry is a process of questioning your own thinking. And especially in the healing space, there's so much convoluted information about what healing even is. What does it mean? How do you drop a belief? I used to say, man, I was in a educational seminar for thought leaders, whatever that means. And this woman goes, we made a breakthrough. And they're talking about college students. And this is like, we're at a high level at university. I'm the only non-academic there, whatever that means. I'm like, how the hell am I in this room? Everyone's a professor. And maybe I just stumbled in the wrong building. I'm just sitting there, and it's like a big auditorium, kind of like those government buildings where everyone has a little microphone and podium. And she's sharing all this stuff about like quantum physics, and everyone was really excited. This is leading edge, and everyone is here is like, we've been tuning into this since 2012, and they're like, well, we realize that, people, they create their reality from their perception of reality, not necessarily in what's happening in their reality. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. And I'm like, when are they going to get to the good stuff? And they're like, so everyone's mind blown. So now we just need to help. And they go, a repeated perception, self-perception is called a belief. And I'm really happy. I'm like, wow, they're really starting to get it. This is the educational system in San Diego we're talking about. This is like some mainstream stuff. So and then it just ends. It's like, so that's what we have to do. We have to help children change their beliefs about themselves. But nowhere did they say how to. And so I pressed my little buzzer, go, so how do you do that? How do you change a belief? And they go, well, if we knew that, we'd be, changing the world. And I'm sitting here going, we do know that. I know many people that know that. And it just blew my mind. So I think this is one of the most underutilized, most rewarding, um, if you want to call it a tool or process. I think to me, it's what allows you to not need a tool or process to heal, which it's all well and good to have a tool or process. It's all well and good to, either do my breath work or tarot or go get a Reiki session. That's all well and good. Use what, works for you. But inquiry is direct in the source. The moment I believe in a stressful thought, the moment my body, my emotions go, there's something off, I can stop, breathe, and inquire. And it can't happen in a way that is not perfect timing. So it's like, this is coming up because I must be powerful enough, ready enough, loved enough to now become aware of this aspect of myself. So let me look at it. And it's like they say in A Course in Miracles, you don't need to banish dark from a room to let the light in. You just turn the light on, and the darkness has to go. Same thing. You look at it. I love this. You guys have all heard what you resist persists, but the other side of the coin is what you look at disappears. So that threshold of looking, people can call it courage, of stopping and being able to look at something that feels uncomfortable. And a lot of people, it seems like, in my experience, need a lot of pain to finally say, I'm finally having the courage to look at this. But we don't need all of that pain to learn how to do inquiry and then go back into that flow of life. So that's what we teach. We call that the two sides of the coin. They're also it's like the masculine and feminine path. The feminine path, you could say, is I'm going within, I'm feeling my emotions, I'm going within, my passion, my expression, my service to others is my outward expression.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you for that. Definitely interested in learning more.
Awesome.
So now if anyone else has any questions, I will open it up to the group. I can keep going, but I know some people have some questions.
Such an epic, radiant group, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is the best way I've ever started a podcast, if you want to even call it that.
Yeah, thank you. And you asked the question, what is healing? And like, we want to hear from everybody on what their interpretation of healing is. The more people we can get in explaining what healing means to them, the more we can learn. So we try to stay open-minded, bring in as many guests as possible. So if you ever have anyone you recommend, let us know. We'll bring them through. I see Layla with a hand up. So whenever you're ready, Layla.
Hi everyone. Nice
Hi,
to
Layla.
see you. Hi Brandon. I just have a question. I listened to your interview with Aaron about Divine Masculinity series. I really love them. Will you gonna have a series about Divine Femininity, or this just was like about Divine Masculinity, that's all?
Yeah, we may have one, because what's interesting is, like, you've probably seen us talk about this, to get to the core of what causes any imbalance is the same for men or women, masculine or feminine. We're dealing with the same stories. They're just being expressed in different patterns. So it's almost like if we were to do the same exact series on the divine feminine, we would just be going into the polarity of everything we talked about in the masculine videos. So that might be something that, I guess the question would be is like, what about the feminine or healing the feminine are you curious about?
Yes, I don't know. Like, I think that's a good question. A lot of things. I think, like, I don't really know a lot about divine femininity, like what kind of like aspects that we have to discover, like look at. I'm not really sure.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
So, I need to discover something about the divine feminine, and you don't know what it is right now. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you believe that thought, how do you feel? I need to discover or heal parts of the divine feminine, but I don't know what they are. How do you feel when you believe that thought?
Lost, confused, like,
Yeah. So who would you be without that thought? If you couldn't believe it?
More empowered person, probably. More like self-confident person.
Yeah. So can you find any reason to keep the thought that you need to heal or discover any more about the divine feminine right now? Can you find any reason, any stress-free reason, a reason that doesn't cause you stress?
Oh, I feel calmness right now. I don't know why. I just all of a sudden felt calmness within me.
Because you didn't need to let it go. It let you go when you see that it doesn't make sense. That's how healing works. You looked at it and you asked the question, right now, just to be on the Zoom call, just to sit here with my camera off, doing whatever it is I'm doing, probably just staring at a screen. Do I need to know anything more about the divine feminine and how to heal? And it's like, no.
No.
Well,
No.
there
Yeah,
you go.
that's true.
That's probably better than a series that we could do on the divine feminine.
Yeah,
right
thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So see, the effortlessness with Layla is she didn't have to let something go. She didn't have to burn a paper and go release it over the Grand Canyon and snort the ashes. That's my ongoing joke. But I do all of the rituals, like especially at our retreats, we do a lot of cool symbolic stuff. But there was no effort, there's no effort in letting something go. That's because it's not a doing. It's a state of being. It's a state of being where you're seeing what's true and what's not. And it just falls away.
Thank you, Layla, for that question. And thank you, Brandon, for that answer. Who else has a question? I see Leah with a hand up.
Hi, Brandon. Thank you so much for everything you said. It's hilarious, but I have a whole list of questions and you just happened to answer almost all of them.
Well, you answered them all, but thank you.
So the thing that I would love to talk about, because from A Course in Miracles, this is a concept that has always intrigued me, is the idea of a special relationship.
Yes, this is great.
Yeah. And how it's obviously the hardest to avoid a special relationship in romance. So maybe maybe everybody's not familiar with that. So maybe if you explained it just so everyone understood, and then talked about how you avoid that in the context of romance, especially.
Awesome. Such a great question, Leah. Thank you. Really good. Special relationship. A special relationship is a relationship or a way of seeing someone where you believe you need something from them in order to feel loved, good, happy, connected, whatever it may be. So that might be you need to meet this need and that need. You need to compliment me. You need to whatever it may be. It also looks like, in the Course, they say you trade a love for specialness, and you have to be willing to give up the specialness to experience love. And you think that the specialness is love. So I might see my partner and think they contain things I don't contain. Oh, they're really smart. They're really successful. They're really beautiful. And if a smart, successful, and beautiful person likes me, that must mean I'm really special. So I'm not in love with them. I'm in love with how I believe they make me feel. But they're not making me feel that way. My projection onto them, my stories about them are making me feel that way. So I'm not even in a relationship with them. I'm in a relationship with my stories. I'm in a relationship with myself, with my projection. So in a special relationship, you're not even in a relationship with someone else. You're in a relationship with a story about someone else. And in the moment that they break that story, their body changes. They're not funny anymore. They They don't want to hang out with you. They want to leave you. If your love, your feeling of peace is disturbed in any way, that means there's specialness there. So I love what Byron Katie says. She goes, if the person you're with wants to go be with someone else and you're not happy and excited to help them pack their bags, your work isn't done. So that's what a holy relationship is. A holy relationship means I need nothing from you. So a special relationship is we're going to trade with each other. You know, you take from me, I take from you. And if we can just find a way to, you know, take from each other enough, we're going to be happy. But because you can't satisfy the ego, there's always going to be more. There's always going to be more. And you'll just keep seeking. It's like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. That's the pattern if you're not aware of special relationship. It's like this person, you know, I hear this sometimes. It's like, I was working with a woman who said, I just want my man to show up like more in his divine masculine. And the moment, and the opposite could be said, I want my woman to show up more in the divine feminine, whatever that means to you. And if me wanting that is keeping me from peace, then I'm actually calling myself to be in my divine masculine in that moment, whatever that means, because the lack I perceive in them is actually the lack I'm projecting from myself. So, you know, no need really is justified if there's attachment to it, in this definition of a special relationship and a holy relationship. So my experience of special and holy is, first of all, not to put pressure on yourself that you need to be in a holy relationship all the time, because it's just not practical until it is, you know. But until then, my experience is you're meant to oscillate. Your partner is meant to show you where you're holding on to specialness and trading it for love. Because it's like I asked that story, who would I be if I didn't need this person to acknowledge me? You know, maybe I turn it around. I will acknowledge them. I will acknowledge me. Who would I be if I didn't need this person to be with me? If I didn't need that, you know, I'd be with me. And then I choose to be with them when that's authentic, and I choose to not when that's not. It's like, it brings it all back to you. So the purpose of a relationship is to highlight what you believe you need in order to be at peace. What you need from the world, what you need from others. Is it's very possible to go, man, I really need some water. But if you don't have a story about it, man, that means I'm lacking. That means I'm going to die. If I don't get this water, I'm going to be in a lot of pain. Then you just recognize you have a need, but there's no suffering. So we're only talking about suffering. So essentially they are the mirror to say, I'm going to show you where you're believing that you absolutely need this or that to change, or me to do this or that, so you can, in a sense, release that need. So we're here to like need our way to needlessness. And I call that state of being in the book. I'm currently writing the 13 book, which is what is based on the programs that we've done over the last 3.5 years now. The first chapter, there's a gateway in that chapter. I call them the 13 gateways, and it's the gateway of needlessness. And it's this paradox that says, when I need nothing, I experience having everything. You know, it's like just for this moment, asking, do I need anything to change right now? Like, let me just look around, maybe under the table. Anything there that I need to change right now? And if it's a no, it's like you're in a holy relationship with life. You're loving what is. So did that answer the question?
That answered every part of every question I've ever had around the whole thing, plus like 5 things. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Leah. That was an awesome question. And it's so important, I think, because we're all in it for relationships. You know, in the Course, it says heaven's entered 2 by 2. And what does that mean? My salvation depends on you. And by depends on you means depends on my perception of you. You know, that's the core of the golden rule. Do unto others what you would have done unto you. Perceive unto others how you would like them to perceive you. You know, so when we understand that, it's like, wow, my ticket to heaven or hell is who I'm being to you, not who you're being to me. It only takes one person to bring peace to a relationship. It doesn't take 2.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
I think that was the most profound question and answer we've ever had on the Quantum Healing Collective. That just blew my mind. That was so good.
It blew my mind when I was able to see it clearly for the first time as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Who else has a question here? Tina. Hey, Tina. You're muted. There you go. You're good now. Yep.
Hi. Okay, so I don't even know where to start with this question. I have been married for almost 6 years on my fourth marriage. And I'm to the point where I'm repeating the same pattern where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like I need to be moving on, or something's missing, or I don't know. I'm just like,
That's really good. Let's just start with this. Something's missing. Something's missing. What's missing?
Just like the passion.
So passion is missing from who?
I used to wake up every morning to love letters and just, waking up smothered, like, okay, get on your side of the bed. And now it's just like, he's on his side of the bed, I'm on my side of the bed. There's no notes. It's just very cold, very.
So passion is missing from him.
Yeah. And there's just no, I don't know. It just, the butterflies are gone. It's just.
So let's work with this. Passion is missing from him. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. You're doing such a good job. You're doing such honest work, and thank you for your courage. Passion is missing from him. Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true?
No, because he says it's not.
Well, that's honest. So go in and just wait for the answer again. Yes or no, one syllable. He's lacking passion. Is it true?
No.
Okay, just feel what you're feeling. When you believe the thought, you are lacking passion, or you should be more passionate towards me, how do you feel? What do you do?
I should be more passionate.
Well, you're really getting ahead already, but this, listen to the question, this part shows you mind and action. It shows you the thought comes up, I believe it, and then I go into action. And then when we see the action, you have a moment of self-realization going, this one thought is explaining all of my behavior that I don't prefer, which all we can work with is your business. We can't work with his business. There's 3 types of business: yours, others, and God's. So we just work with yours. So go ahead, close your eyes, just go in and see yourself in a situation, in a moment, paint the picture. Maybe you wake up, there's no smothering, there's no love notes, and you believe the thought, he should be more passionate towards me, and he's not. What do you feel and what do you do when you believe that thought?
I just kind of feel like giving up. I feel like getting it from somebody else.
Yeah. And so what do you do? Do you withdraw? Do you fantasize? What are all of the things that you do from that thought?
I usually throw myself into work and trying to help other people and give other people what they need.
Yeah. So go into work, go just focus on other people. So who would you be without that thought? Waking up in the morning and you couldn't believe that he should be more passionate towards you. Just put yourself right in that situation. Waking up in the morning, you can't believe that he should be more passionate towards you. You wake up and just look around. There's no thought that says he should be doing anything different than he is. So what would you do? What would that be like?
I don't know. It just feels like a big void. Like there's something that's not there that should be there.
Well, is it true? Because according to you, he's there, you're there. He's just not being passionate in the way that you want him to be in the morning, in that scene. So what's there is woman in bed, man in bed, sun rising. That's reality without a story.
Well, he's never there. He's never there. Even on the weekends, he gets up before me. Like he's never there anymore.
So then you wake up, he's not there, and you're there. So that's the reality.
Yeah.
So there's something missing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true?
Yeah.
Can you absolutely know it's true? You wake up, no one else is there, and that means something is missing. Can you absolutely know, just in that moment, that something is missing?
Yes.
All right. Now, when you believe that thought, you feel what?
Lonely, sad.
All right. And in that moment, if you couldn't believe the thought, something's missing, how would you feel?
I mean, I have myself, I guess. It's like
That's a start. Yeah, I'd drop the I guess. I have myself. Just feel that for a moment. I have myself.
Yeah.
I have myself. If I couldn't believe the thought something is missing, I have myself. Yeah. You know, he's there, he's not there. You have yourself. Either way, that's the only thing you can ever depend on. You are that one. That is the only one that's guaranteed to be with you for the rest of your life. Me having myself. So let's look at the situation. How could this be about him not being there? Is if with the thought there's stress, without the thought there's not stress. Without the thought, it's just you with you. You know, it's about, we always plug this in. It's my thinking. We go, man, I want him to be more passionate in our relationship. I want my thinking to be more passionate in our relationship. I want him to change. I want my thinking to change. He is your projection. You shift, he shifts. Now, if you shift and someone else doesn't shift, but you're too busy living a life of passion, well, then it becomes very clear on whether or not you're in a compatible relationship or not.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're waking up and not seeing reality, and not seeing reality means you wake up and the thought says something is missing. Well, where is it? What is it? You know, what's missing in that moment?
Yeah.
You know, it's just the belief that something is missing in that moment. Who would you be without that thought? And now we turn it around. Something is missing in that moment when he's not there, and I wake up and he's not being passionate in our relationship. Something's missing. Turn it around. Instead of something is missing, something is opposite of something's missing.
Have myself.
Yeah, something's not missing.
It's not missing.
You know, where could you find that might be equally as true? Just in that moment, just when you wake up in the morning and he's not there, how can you find that something's not missing?
Do something else, take a shower, get up and make myself a warm cup of tea.
Yeah, you have everything you need to do all of those things. You know, you have everything you need to do any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's missing for you to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Wash the dishes, go for a walk, whatever it might be. You, without the thought, something's missing, just does what you do.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the relationship. You know, it's like, I love this quote in the course. What is lacking in any situation is what I'm not giving. So we say, and another one from the course, I love this one. And these could be tough pills to swallow in the beginning, but it's important that you be gentle with yourself, because we all have this experience. We have all, and maybe are all having the same thoughts that you're having, you know? So he should be more passionate than me. I always say, well, what's reality say? What's happening in reality? If he's not being as passionate as you want him to be, how do I know he doesn't need to be as passionate as you think he needs to be? Because he's not. And that's the reality. Argue with it. I'm in stress. Accept it. I'm free. Doesn't mean I need to be in a relationship that I don't prefer, but I can either deal with that from a place of stress or love. So you should be more passionate towards me. can I absolutely know that it's true? I should be more passionate towards him. I should be more passionate towards me. You know, in that moment where you wake up and you go, something's missing, well, you're in his business. You're in the business of the what if. You're in everywhere but with you. You're not being passionate with you in that moment, just in that moment. You know?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So one thing that I would say is, and this is what I do in my relationship, is if I think she needs to be more anything, I question it. And because if I think she needs to do anything, I'm stressing about it. So you need to be more loving towards me. The moment I find it and I go, man, is it true? I need to be more loving towards me. I need to be more loving towards you. You know? And then I go, babe, I had a thought that I realized is not true. You need to be more passionate towards me. You know, for what? For me to be happy? For me to be passionate with me? You need to do that? Well, why don't you skip the middleman? You be that for you, not for him. You know, love is selfish. It hurts me not to love you, not to let you be as you are. That's why we let people off the hook. It's selfish. So you go, I believed a thought that said you should be more passionate to me, and I realized it wasn't true. But when I believed it, man, I'd want to change you. I'd want you to do this and that. I'd put pressure. I'd be passive. I'd escape and work. And I'm sorry. How can I be more loving and passionate towards you? How can I be a better partner to you? I'm ready to listen now. You want him to open to new possibility, you open to the new possibility. He's your projection. You shift, he shifts. Is that helpful?
It is. I feel like I've been shifting for a long time and he's not shifting with me. So it just might be one of those incompatible things. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. All I know is when you're clear, that decision will make itself. You're only going to be clear when you're not stressed. They can't go together.
Right.
So if I'm stressed, the moment I think my partner needs to do the work, I need to do the work. So there's one goal, and this is the one commitment and devotion that I have in my life. It's not to my partner. It's not to agreements in the future. It's not to businesses. It's to clarity. It's to the truth. It's to loving reality, to loving what is. So if I am not in that, man, it doesn't matter what my agreements are. I know I don't know in that moment. I know I'm confused. I know I'm insane. I know the last thing I'm going to do is make decisions. I know all that I'm being called to do is question my thinking. And then once I'm clear, decisions make themselves. It's not hard. There's no such thing as a hard decision. There's only a mind that's fixed on outcomes and attached to outcomes. So we question the mind. You make it right with him. If you want him to be more passionate, you go first, see what happens with no insistence that he needs to change. And then you'll really get to see reality.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Tina, for your vulnerability and doing that. That was cool. Thank you, Brandon, for all that. Does anyone else have a question? Probably got time for one more. If anyone wants to take a stab at it.
I think Leah has a question.
I'll ask a question if no one. I have a whole list. And I have one more. I would like to hear you talk about goal setting. So how to goal set without clinginess, but also maybe it could be true that you don't even believe in goal setting and you think that you should just be present and just keep following the next sign and the next thing. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, so this is really great. Thank you. The goal, my number one goal is to be in love with what is, is to completely be joined with what is, which, means there's nothing I can imagine changing about this world, not just my life, the whole world. The moment I think something needs to change, it's just hell. So that's my number one goal. Now, but when you set a goal in the future as a symbol in your mind, because that's all it is, it's a thought. So I'm going to hold a thought And if I decide to create a thought that feels exciting and passionate, well, I know that me without a story naturally goes there anyway. So if I'm setting a goal, all that matters is that it's truly representative of my passion, because I know I'm going to naturally be drawn to that anyway. So set it or I don't set it, that's where I'm going to move. It's just what I notice. That's what I notice without a story. I say yes to joy. So if I'm going to set a goal, I set a goal that is just a picture of joy and excitement and inspiration. But I know I have no idea if it needs to happen or if something else is going to happen. Something 10 times greater might happen. So, I have a goal in mind to finish the book by a certain date. Why? Because reality kind of said I should do that. My book editor was like, we should put a date. I go, okay, let's do that. But before that, I was like, I didn't need to put a date on it. I just write it when I'm inspired. Time doesn't influence me. I don't go, that's going to make me do it more. Now, if I give myself a deadline, to me, that's stress. So I set goals when I need to, but they're always flexible. And, I hit them, great. I don't, great. Doesn't really matter. I just know that the goal can give me nothing. It's like I step on a stage in front of 1 million people. I walk off backstage. Now the stage doesn't exist. It's just in my imagination. So in that moment, I go, wow, I just stepped off stage. Now I'm a success. Well, I could do the same thing if I just wake up and brush my teeth and then go, I just finished brushing my teeth. I'm a success. They're both equally untrue and true, So did that answer the question?
Yes. Thank you again.
Awesome.
Yeah,
But
that
I'll
was
tell you
awesome.
what, one of the things I say to a lot of my clients, right, when they start working with me, I go, our number one goal is to not hit your goals. And they start laughing. I go, because I love this principle of we want what we don't want, and we don't want what we actually want. And if you really think about that, is it possible that I want what I don't want? And everything that we don't want, if I say, what do you not want to happen in your life? Unless, like, you could say, an enlightened master would say, what are you talking about? There's nothing that I wouldn't want to happen, because if it's happening, I'd want it to happen, because I would join with it. I wouldn't resist it. So I want whatever happens. So if I go, I really don't want this to happen, I know I have resistance there. So why do I want what I don't want? Because if I come up against resistance, I could take it to inquiry and I can have more freedom. That's the worst case scenario, is just what I'm thinking and believing about any circumstance. I'm not actually afraid of a circumstance. No one is. No one's afraid of being homeless. No one's afraid of dying. They're afraid of their stories about it, of what they're thinking and believing about it. Again, we're not afraid of reality. So I don't remember where I was going with that, but I say that to them because I say, I hope we don't hit your goals. And that brings up resistance, because then we're really going to, you're really going to be free. And that's what I'm in this business for. I'm not here to have you change the conditions in your life. That's called being conditional. I'm here to open the door to an unconditional life. And the paradox is that's usually when people's conditions really change, but it just is like a noticing, like, oh, what a cool bonus.
Thank you. I see Randy with one final question for you.
Get my mic around here. It wasn't really a quiz, more of a couple of statements. First off, I really related to between Tina and yourself, the answers there, and it just kind of brought home that, you need something from someone else in your mind, and you're focused on this is what they need to do, and in reality, before they can do anything, you have to do the work yourself. And that came home. And then the other thing was, as a little boy, my dad kept telling me over and over this, he loved riddles and things, and he would always say, you are who you think other people think you are. And it never,
Wow.
I just remember hearing that over and over and over again, but it never really sunk in until really tonight, I'm listening to you, and that's the one phrase that kept coming up in my head was, you are who you think other people think you are.
Yeah, Randy, it's so profound. You know, I love this quote. It's like, I am no more or no less to you, your story about me. You know, that's what I am to you. I'm your story. I can't be anything else. And there was something else you said in the beginning there that was really, really, really good, which I'm forgetting what it was now. Oh, it was something sparked about being okay, being wrong for the sake of peace. And it's one of the most challenging things for the ego, because it's the ego's last stand, and it will defend and defend and defend its beliefs. No, I know this should happen, that should happen, this is bad, whatever it is, I know it. And that's why this work is meditation. It really takes going in and feeling all of that resistance coming up, that defense, that and just breathing into it and just letting it be there. You know, I love, you know, how I refer to my emotions when they come up is especially if a stressful emotion comes up, I'll say, this. And I don't name it. I don't do it. I just, this. Okay, this is, you know, it's like, can I find a reason not to feel it? Well, if I could, I'd do inquiry there. Oh, don't feel it right now, brain. You don't have time. Is it true? Okay, who would I be without that thought? I just feel it. Okay, this. And typically that's when it melts. And the ego's like, wait, you're not going to fight me, but that's the only thing sustaining me. The only thing sustaining the ego is resistance. So you let it happen, let it be defensive, let it do its thing, but continue that process of inquiry, and then you just die to love.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you, Uncle Randy. Yeah, man, it's so wild. I never actually know, like, spirit will guide me who to reach out to, and then I just do it, and then they show up, and it all just makes sense. But this ended up being like one of my favorite meetings ever. Your energy, man, your flow, just beautiful. I'd love to do some work with you sometime, so I'll be reaching out to you, man.
Cool, man.
Really
well, I
cool.
appreciate that. This has been really, really fun. And yeah, you guys are also present and just here and engaged. Like, you guys are leaders of this new transformational age. So thank you for being here with me.
Cool, man. Thank you. So what we do is we close our meetings with a prayer. So we put our arms up and we try to like pretend like we're locking hands with the persons next to us. So if you just reach out, link up arms. We dedicate the merit of this meeting to all of those awakening at this precious time. May our efforts to better ourselves help shift the planetary consciousness from fear into love. May this energy ripple out into the world and awaken those with closed hearts, illuminate closed minds, and inspire all to live within the presence of compassion and generosity. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Brandon. You killed it, man. That was so good.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank
You're
you, Brandon.
welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That was
All right.
lovely.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.